Hello, Divine Redeemer families. And just as your pastor, I want to tell you how excited I am to see all of you working together in faith formation so that as these youth in our congregation are growing up into their faith, they're going to confirm the faith that was delivered at their baptism, that they've been living every day, that you see how vital as a part that you are, moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, whoever's helping with this program in seeing their faith formed and seeing their faith grow. So I'm really excited that you're a part of this program. And just remember that parental involvement and family involvement is crucial in students continuing on in their faith, in their activity in the church, and how much they will go to God's word when they have an actual question in their life. So this curriculum is really just an excuse for moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas to come together and talk about their faith in Jesus so that the faith that your child has is being watered and will continue to grow and thrive. We just would love to see that for you and your family. One of the things that can be a little bit difficult and daunting, though, is using the technology. Now, some people are used to Google Classroom by this time because of everything that's happened in culture and society lately, but not everybody is. And so what I wanted to create for you today is just a really brief video about how you can get into Google Classroom and what's going to be expected of you once you go in there. And we're going to start from scratch. So you provided for us a Gmail address at the beginning of the year for confirmation. And we sent an invitation to a Google Classroom for confirmation based off of that Gmail. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and you're going to see exactly what it's going to look like as you would get the same kind of invitation. So here we go, just a sec. All right, now you should be able to see my screen. And when you do so, hey, look at that, my inbox is clean. This is like the first time in the history of humanity that a Gmail box is clean. But that being said, there's one email there, and it's come from Divine Redeemer, because Divine Redeemer will be the Gmail domain that's sending you the invitation to the classroom. So you click on that, as you can see. It's very simple from this point. It says, hey, Divine Redeemer has invited you to the class, HomeFirst Confirmation Divine Redeemer Heartland, for the 2021 school year. Maybe you're watching this in 21, 22 or whatever, but the link will look the same. The year will be different. All you have to do is, if you take a look at where my cursor is going, click on the join button and it'll take you directly to the class after it asks you, do you want to join this class? So you click join. And look at that, bada bing, bada boom, you're in the confirmation class. Now, a couple of things that I want to point out to you as you enter into this classroom. There are going to be 3 tabs at the top: stream, classwork, and people. You may or may not have the same. I'm a teacher, so I have a different perspective, but you'll have access to what's called stream. Stream is going to be all of the assignments for the entire year that are going to be necessary for you and your family to go through our confirmation programming. So click on stream and you can see everything. The first thing that we have to be able to see is an announcement about confirmation Bible verses. You can submit your top 3 choices in the very first class of confirmation if you want to. What's going to occur is then throughout the year, different members of church leadership will go through and begin to harvest who is going to be assigned what confirmation verse. The second announcement is usually the same, and that is going to be our schedule. Now, hopefully you can see this schedule on your screen. The words might be a little bit small, but as you look at it, you can always change the view and make it 100% enlarged, 200% enlarged, so you can see it. What this is, and the reason why it stays anchored at the top of the screen, is it is the calendar by which everything is due. So you'll know when it's supposed to start and when it's supposed to end, and it runs through the entire year. So you don't have to worry about multiple calendars or anything like that. It will tell you when our orientations are, so you can get to know all of this information. Chances are you probably went to that, or maybe you missed it, and that's why you're watching this video, but yeah, it's always there. But it also tells you something like, oh, look, the first module to complete will cover pages 11 and 54 to 56 in your catechism. That's the right-hand column. In the middle is the module name. That's going to be critical from when we're looking for the actual module to do the work. But it says when that's supposed to be open and when it's supposed to be done. So as you can tell, the 10 Commandments introduction module is to begin at the beginning of the year. For 2020 and 2021 school year, it'll begin on September 13th and it'll close on September 27th. Now, will it actually close? Probably not. We want to be able to listen to your family, and families have asked for some more time, but it gives you a good idea of a pace, a rhythm to complete these modules. So let's take a look at what that would look like, knowing that, well, the first module is called the Ten Commandments Introduction. You click off to the side of the page, and I'll just get you right into that classroom. And then you look for Divine Redeemer, Ten Commandments Introduction. Click on that and check that out. It has everything mapped out for you of everything that you're going to need to successfully complete an entire week's worth of curriculum. So it'll give you the objective first in every single module, so you know why it is that you're learning what you're learning. After that, it's going to give you your lesson tasks, and those are broken down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but they will almost always be the same thing for each day. So every Monday, we want to equip parents, so there is a parent intro video. This Monday's, for the first module, is called Grappling the Ten Commandments Fractal, and that's 7 minutes long. So what you do is you say, okay, this is Monday, see where my cursor is, parent responsibility, watch the parent video, intro grappling the text, grappling 10 commandments fractal, 7 commandments, or 7 minutes. And then you go down to actually click on the video. So click the video with the left click, and look at that. It brings it up for you right in the middle of the screen. You don't even have to navigate away and go to YouTube if you don't want to. You can. Bottom right-hand corner, you can click on the YouTube, and it'll bring you to the regular channel. You can make it bigger if you want to, change volume just like anything else. But so that you feel equipped to go through this lesson with your kiddos, you get to watch this video. Now, the first ones about the Ten Commandments are from a fellow LCMS pastor named Brian Wolfmueller. He talks about the Ten Commandments and he illustrates them. None of us here are that talented, so we're just going to rely on Brian to be able to do that for you, and he does a great job. But other than these 10 videos, every single video in this series is created by your pastor. And so we are trying to be complimentary as much as possible to help moms and dads. All right, well, that is part of Monday, so we'll just go back to that. Monday, parent, you watch the video, you feel a little bit better equipped to talk about the introduction of the 10 Commandments by watching that vid. And what you'll do is you'll just introduce that week's memory verse, and look at that, it's right there. So you don't even have to navigate somewhere else to find it or anything. It's Exodus 20:1-2. And so you just introduce that to your child and work out some ways to do the memory. The memory will be due on Friday. There's a reminder of that on the Friday curriculum. But you'll go to Tuesday, because we'll just say we're going along in the week and now it's Tuesday. You're going to begin by praying with your student on that Tuesday. Now, some parents are very comfortable praying with their children. Some aren't, because they didn't have a whole lot of practice. That's okay. Because if you look at your Tuesday responsibilities, it says see PDF below. So if you're not comfortable just praying from the heart with your kiddos and modeling that, you can still model prayer by clicking on the prayer sheet. And this prayer will be specific to the objective for the week. So as you can see, the objective is restated. And then after that, it says Tuesday prayer. So it's very, very simple. And look, we wrote a prayer for you so that you can pray with your kiddos. You don't have to be afraid about trying to make something up. But you can also pray, make it up by yourself if you want to. After you're done with that prayer, which is usually quite brief, or it can be as long as you want it to be on that Tuesday, you get a chance to read the actual word with your family. So Exodus 20, verses 1-17, and then just have a discussion off of this question that's already curated for you. The Bible reading for today is mostly about God's commands for his people. Why do you think he started out by reminding them that he freed them from Egypt? It's a great conversation starter. Seems like it'd be a lot about law, but does he really start that way? Well, a good way to talk about the 10 Commandments and the first part of the 10 Commandments. Now, we move on to our next day, which is going to be Wednesday. This is an opportunity for both parent and student to watch a video together. So whereas the 10 Commandments grappling video is meant to equip the parent so they feel somewhat better equipped to talk about this with their children, the video called Intro to 10 Commandments is actually for the student to be learning also. So mom and dad, or mom or dad, sit down with their student and they watch the video, and you just click on the same video that's listed, Intro to 10 Commandments, click on it, and hey, there's some bald, weird pastor talking about the introduction of the 10 Commandments. And you can see each one of these videos that we've made is going to start the same way, and we can click out of there. It's kind of embarrassing to have to watch your own self on a video. But that's all done, and that's what you do for Wednesday. You can have a discussion after that if you want, and see what your student retained or what you thought about the video itself. And on Thursday, you always want to be able to do something to have what they've been learning the past few days enacted, whether it's just intellectually enacted, where they've been able to kind of synthesize everything you've talked about and see that it's been formative to who they are. So sometimes it's just a worksheet where you're asking questions to each other based on scripture. Sometimes it's an interview. So for instance, in the Lord's Supper, It's going to be the student's responsibility to contact a grandma or a grandpa who are part of the faith and ask what it was like the first time they received the Lord's Supper, and what that meant for them in their faith. So it's always going to be some kind of activity that begins time on Thursday that they're able to get all that information kind of processed together. And then they reflect that they have a competency over that over an assessment. And this happens every week. And it's a very short quiz through Google Quizzes, so that we can know that they're tracking with the information. So what they'll do is they'll click on this little link here that says HomeFirst Lesson 1 Assessment, and it'll take them to the Google questions. So they'll type in their email address, and for me, it's going to be sethflick@gmail.com. There we go. And then they're going to be asked questions that were covered in the video or covered in their worksheet that they did or their interview. In the video sermon, Pastor Seth said that there were 3 functions of the law. They are, now I know the answer, it's curb, mirror, and guide. And so I'll put that in there. In the video sermon, a big point is made about the way the Lord introduced the 10 Commandments, that they are children of God's grace. What are the 10 Commandments? The 10 Commandments are the law of God. You're probably going to go through this a little bit more slowly and talk it through, but I'm going through it fast, so I don't waste your time. The next one is God delivered the 10 Commandments first writing the law in their hearts, then through Moses. He wrote them on tablets of stone. That is true. In one word, Jesus summed up what the commands are telling us to do toward God and each other. That word is love, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. Love the Lord God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength. To whom does God refer when in the 10 Commandments he says, you shall? You shall means only me and all other human beings. It means everyone except for me. It means only me. Now, you shall means me and everybody else, right? And this is also just a claim that hopefully the memory work is already done. And this is the way that you as a parent can keep this accountable. And so can we here at the church. I've successfully memorized this week's memory work and was able to speak it without help to my parent. And God spoke all these words saying, I'm the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery, Exodus 20:1. Now I'm going to say no on that one. And I'm going to ask for a copy of these quiz results to be sent to my email. That way you can check if for some reason they had to do this quiz on their own, what their responses were. And we also get a copy of their responses as well as their percent. They don't get above a certain percent. We'll follow up with them after progress reports are made. You're welcome to do the same. And they can retake the quiz. And then we'll submit it. Make sure that after the quiz is done, they hit submit. All right, so look at that. It recorded my first response, and you can actually see the previous assignments, and it's going to load all of my responses. And look at that, it's all good. It tells me what the answers are appropriately. And look at that, I got that one wrong. But Mrs. Han and I will know what the percent is for that quiz. And we keep track of those, and that'll help us keep track of progress for students, because that is really what we look at, is how many assessments have been completed. Now, when you're going through all of this material, you'll finish the Thursday quiz. You did the Thursday activity by clicking on the link to the worksheet that's there. And then you're going to come to Friday. Friday is basically reviewing what you've already learned from this past week. So here are the big points, and you can see them listed here 1 through 8, and it'll introduce what's the big idea for next week and what's the memory work. Well, the big idea for next week is the first commandment. And what is that? You shall have no other gods before me. What does this mean? We should fear, love, and trust in God above all things, which is also our memory work. So that's the typical week. That's what you're going to be expected to do for almost every single module. The only exception is the module on the Office of the Keys, where a student will be writing their faith statement. But everything else should be exactly the same. Now, some people have asked, well, I don't have time to do this on Mondays because I've got spin class and I can't sit down with my kid. That's okay, because it'll give you an opportunity to kind of, as a family, you choose how this curriculum is going to work best. We wanted to make it manageable bites so that Monday through Friday, for an average of about 15 minutes a day, faith formation can happen. But if you can't do it in 15 minutes a day and you're able to sit down for an hour on a Saturday, hour and 15 minutes or so, you could do that too. And for some students, it's going to take a little bit longer. For some students, it'll be a little bit shorter. We want to be able to work with the family. We want this material for confirmation to be available to you and your family whenever it is that you're able to put it in the rhythm of your life, because Jesus is always supposed to be a rhythm in your life. Well, that's basically it for The functionality of what this is, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I just want to thank you for watching the video so you know exactly what to do to get in and get started so that you can see Jesus in your home first. God bless you and have a wonderful time in the scriptures with your child. Goodbye.